hope you're all well, and I'd like to welcome everyone to Office 365 Pulse with Jennifer Ann Mason. And take it away, Jen.
Hey guys, this is Jennifer. So happy to be here with you guys. Today you guys get a special treat because we are joined by Corey Roth, who is my guest host. And I'm not sure how many of you guys know, but Corey Roth is actually my dear sweet husband. So we met at, I don't know, a WPC or a SharePoint conference or a something. And we have just been married for a little over a year. So today you guys get the funness of having a SharePoint Office 365 Pulse from a SharePoint Power couple. So Corey, I guess I'll let you do another invite, introduction of yourself, other than, hey, this is my husband. He's also like really smart and a developer. But there you go. Corey, go ahead and give an intro about yourself.
Thank you, Janet. Yes, I am your husband, and my name is Corey Roth. For those of you that don't know me, I've been in the SharePoint space for lots of years now. SharePoint MVP, do a lot of stuff in development, Office 365, apps, you name it. So anything like that. Happy to be here to be on your show.
Very cool. I think Simon is going to go ahead and switch around our layout now so we can share screens. I put the Sway, if you guys want to follow along, I put the link to the Sway inside of the chat window just a little bit earlier. So I'm going to share this. You guys should see it on your screens now. And also, if you guys are watching, in the corner of the screen that's sharing is a little, like a 4 corners with arrows. And if you expand that, it will show you the presentation in full screen. So if you need to see it bigger or something like that, just go ahead and expand it and we can do that. And I think Corey's going to do some demos later if we have time. And so you can always expand it when he goes to share his window. So welcome to the Pulse. We have a couple of announcements today. I don't know if there was anything earth-shattering that happened in the last week with Office 365, but we got some interesting things that came up. So one of the big ones was email and retention policies on deleted items. And so there was a 30-day policy, and then things were indefinitely deleted after 30 days. And now it is up to each Office 365 administrator to go in and set the length of time for deleted content. And so this was a new change. I wasn't necessarily expecting this one. I saw some conversation back and forth that some of this might have come because of the extra security certifications and different things that they have, so to meet those requirements that they have that. So now it is something that people can set. So I would love to hear from you guys in the chat window if this is something that has impacted your orgs, or Corey, if you have any orgs or any thoughts about, what's going to happen if people just go save thing indefinitely.
Right, and I'm definitely no Exchange administrator by any means, although I've done a little bit of time here and there over the years. But I think this is something I've heard people talk about once or twice, something that they would like to be able to do. One of the kind of limitations that we had before in Office 365. So definitely an interesting aspect of it. As you notice, everything in Office 365 continues to go towards this unlimited type storage scenario, and email is kind of joining it a piece at a time, just like we've already seen with like OneDrive for Business.
Yeah, and from what I read, everything's going to stay at 30 days, but it gives the administrators the option to go in and change it now. So if you don't go and change it, it's going to stick with the 30 days, but if you do go in and change it, you can set it to an unlimited date. So something that's very interesting, and I think certain verticals and stuff like that that need things with their email, they're definitely going to see that. I would say if you don't have a pressing need to expand it, then you kind of leave it like it is for scalability and then for also storage scenarios, but definitely something to consider there. One of the other exciting things to the Message Center is that Delve is now out of first release and is rolling into prime time. So for those that are not familiar with first release, certain features that roll out to Office 365 first roll out to first release candidates. And what happens is it's going to roll out. If you go to your tenant and say, put me on first release, then these things will roll out over time to people in first release, and then after a period of time, it's going to then just start rolling out as a set feature for the Office 365 product set. And once it becomes a set feature, any new plan that starts with Office 365 is going to have that included by default. This one's pretty interesting. I thought there would be a little bit more pomp and circumstance with Delve going to primetime, but it definitely,
snuck out, didn't it?
yeah, definitely just kind of showed up. Dan shared a link in the chat, which is awesome, for IT Unity's hub on Delve and Office Graph. They've got some great content out there, and there's going to be a lot of sessions at Ignite around the open APIs that exist around Delve and different things that can get, I guess it's APIs against the Office Graph, not Delve, but
Right.
how you can do different things. And so, Corey, what are your thoughts on Delve?
I've been really interested in Delve since it first came out. With my background, for those that kind of knew me, knew I did a lot of things around search, and of course Delve is, an extension to the search platform. And so I've been working with it on and off for a while since it came out now. And I'm excited to see it reach general availability, which means it's going to be in the hands of more users. Like if you look in the Amber group about Delve, it's one of the common things that people are kind of asking: when is it going to be available? When's it going to be available? When's it going to be in my tenant? So, good news is it's going to be in your tenant and soon, right? If it's not there already. So I think we've already seen a few iterations. Just recently they added email attachments to Delve, and that's really one of those things that people are thinking, how's it seeing my email attachments? Well, the suite is all connected right now. Don't think of it as Delve just an extension to SharePoint, but it's really an extension to the entire Office 365 suite.
Yeah, it's one of those experiences that Julia talked about in the last blog post that she did. It's interesting. It said that it's going to take a couple of months to get everybody out to GA, so that's interesting to see what happens with that. And it's been fun to watch it through first release because they have made changes to it. There's a lot of people, when they first get their hands on Delve, they freak out because they wonder, can everyone see my content, and how is security really managed? And then once they get a better idea of it and see how it is and understand how it's working, it seems to be embraced pretty well at a lot of organizations. There's not a lot of work you have to do to use it. It's always fun when I hang out with Microsofties, whether I'm with them at conferences or different events, and I see them not doing demos but actually doing their own work to where they're tied into things, tied into their own systems and doing their own work, and I see them using Delve actually quite a bit, and I kind of chuckle, and I was like, okay, that they really are eating their own dog food when it comes to this one. So I think it is very interesting indeed, and I am excited to see that come. So I haven't seen anybody post in chat, but is anybody on the show today using Delve today, or thinking about plans to get it implemented there? I'd love to see if you guys are. The next, oh, I do see some people typing. So I was curious if Suzanne was using it because she's got such a big group. And Marcy, yeah, you're just playing with it. Yeah, I think a lot of people are doing that. I guess I should mention that you can go turn it all off. I would want to think before you did that, but you can go turn it off. There's no button that actually allows you to turn Delve off, but there's a service that you can turn off that will turn off Delve for all of your users. So that's awesome. We have it, and like you said, had a lot of concerns, but now we love it. So Suzanne, maybe we need to get you. Right? Yeah, Suzanne, maybe we need to get you on a future show, and you can be my guest, and we can talk to you guys about what you guys thought about Delve. So sounds like a awesome opportunity for future diving in. So I'm going to let Corey talk about the next one, because this is one that I'm not going to lie, I was fixing dinner one day, and he came in and said, did you see that they did this? And I was like, what are you talking about? I stopped thinking about SharePoint like 10 minutes ago when I started cooking dinner. And then he told me all about it. So, Corey, I'm going to let you talk about this one a little bit.
So I'm going to paste the link in here, too. So OneDrive for Business has a variety of apps, as you know. And late one night last week, I was doing some work and stumbled in my Office 365 tenant. And, again, this is one of those message center updates that we were referring to in this section of display. And sometimes when things go away, they sneak into the message center. And this was one of those examples. So OneDrive has a variety of apps, and one of the apps was the Windows Store app. Now, common confusion is Microsoft's changed the name of this about 3 or 4 times now. So this used to be what we called a Metro app, called a Windows 8 app. We've called it the Windows Store app is what you call it as a developer, and then finally in Windows 10 we're now calling them modern applications. So this is the the kind of full screen app that runs across various platforms, including like the old Surface RT platform, which very few people are probably using. So this is that full screen experience for OneDrive for Business app. So that's going away as of March 27th. I pasted the link in there if you want to read more about it. And this probably doesn't affect a lot of people, I'd guess. I didn't use it a lot personally. I think most people probably use the desktop client, which is kind of what you get if you go into a document library and you click sync.
Right.
That's going to be the desktop, and that's part of the Office 2013 install. So probably won't affect a lot of you, but I thought it was pretty interesting. Now, from the other devices, those are still there. So the Android and iOS clients, some of you may know that they've seen some updates, and they've actually consolidated OneDrive Consumer and OneDrive for Business on those clients, and so you can actually connect to either. And so I suspect this app is probably not gone forever. If I had to guess, we'll probably see something come back after Windows 10 is released, if I had to guess. Because I think that's what we're seeing a lot in the space, is things are kind of going away and then they come back with Windows 10. So
Yeah.
still an interesting thing to note. If you're using it, it may affect you. It means if you do have a Surface RT, you won't be able to use OneDrive for Business except in like the browser. So you'll lose that syncing capability.
Yeah, and I had a Surface, well, I have too many Surfaces to judge. I have a Surface RT, but I don't know if I ever use it for anything more than playing. So maybe,
yeah.
I don't know.
I did a little bit, but definitely since the Surface Pro 3 came out, I don't think any of us have used their Surface RTs nearly as much, except for little devices around the house.
Yeah. So I think it's something to watch for Windows 10. Hopefully something will come out for that. So very, very interesting stuff. So that's kind of the Message Center updates that hit, and so we will definitely post those again next week when we're there if anything interesting or new comes up. Next, we're going to move on to roadmap updates, and this one is pretty hard to follow. Roadmap updates, I really struggle with knowing when things hit, because it's hard to scale through it and know when updates come and go. But when I hear of things and I see people talking about them, definitely want to include them in the show. Last week we included the removal of the forms, and this one we get to say something new. So this is an addition, not a death of. And this is about the video portal updates. And what they've basically added back to the roadmap is updates coming for the video portal. And I don't want to say back to the roadmap. I think they've always been on the extended roadmap for the video portal, but now they're listed out as an actionable item. A lot of it is going to be around, around playback of the videos, as well as having the iPad app that works with the video portal. So all pretty interesting stuff. Also some more controls that are coming there. I've even seen some screenshots slip of a little bit of a different layout. So I, for one, am super excited about this. The video portal is another one of those experiences where instead of having a thing that we get to configure and change, it's basically done for us, and we get to just load it and go. It's just something very simplistic and very easy to use. So I thought that that's really cool that that's there. I'd love to hear if anyone's using the video portal internal to their org right now. That's another one. If you guys are interested, we could probably get Mark Cashman to come on a show, or we could even do a demo and show you guys some of the extra features that come with the video portal. But in this way, I put a link for the video portal, different things that are there. So hopefully this update will be coming pretty soon, and then we are going to be able to really take full advantage of the video portal and see what things are maybe coming next with it. So Corey, do you have any thoughts on this one?
Well, yeah, I think, forgot to mention, Jennifer, you actually did one of the first talks on the video portal. at TechEd Europe last year in
Yep.
Barcelona. We're kind of announcing the GA of that. And so now that we're a few months into it, probably the first thing, people said about it was, okay, it has this dependency on the Flash player, which is, the plugin that's actually powering this whole webcast. But it blocked it from working on a lot of devices like iOS, for example. So they've specifically talked about that this week, having a responsive experience, which means it will work on any kind of device, well, relatively speaking, right? And that's pretty exciting, and probably for those with a, work at large global companies, global presence, probably, from the nerd side of me, they're adding support to take advantage of Azure Media Services CDN, which is basically technology that allows you to put the video closer to the end users, so you get better performance, and they don't have to stream all the way across the world. So that way, someone in Europe gets a good experience, while someone in South America gets a good experience as well. So exciting things coming. For sure.
I like it. Yeah, and I think that.
Too, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't think that the video portal has hit full GA yet. I believe it's still in first release, and I'm wondering if these updates that are going to come are going to hit and then it's going to go to GA. So that's going to be another interesting one to watch. I still think there's a couple of use cases where it's not, fully working for everybody. I mean, it's a fully working solution, but the criteria of how it works might not fit across somebody who has a certain set of devices or something like that. So the responsive stuff is going to be a super awesome change. So I'm definitely watching this roadmap item pretty closely to see what happens, because I'm super excited about it. And once they can get the responsive stuff figured out for this video portal, I'm sure it's going to, tag over to the other experiences. So I'm pretty excited about that one. So
yeah, one common thing I hear about the video portal is, hey, we have a ramp device, and it does this, this, and this, and this, and it's a very specialized device to deliver video inside your network, and basically it works by putting appliances on branch offices. And the video portal is really not meant to compete with that necessarily. It's it does a lot of that, but I think it's really just about putting videos in the hands of the masses, where more people have accessible videos to them, instead of having to have specialized devices and things like that. So it's really exciting. I think it really opens up kind of user base of what people can do with video inside the enterprise.
Yeah, very, very cool stuff. So we will keep watching that one, and it sounds like people are interested in maybe doing a show where we can kind of talk a little bit about, more about the video portal. So we will get that in the books and get that in the works for getting that set up.
Be sure to check out the Jennifer's session on the video portal as well.
That's true.
It's on Channel 9. I could probably find a link here in the next minute, and that way if you want to watch what it kind of does out of the box, that'd be a good reference as well.
Yeah, definitely. I completely forget that they recorded those for Channel 9, so that'd be awesome. Thanks, Corey.
I'll find it real quick.
Awesome. Cool. So now we're moving on to new updates that have hit in the last week inside of Office 365. These are kind of interesting. Again, I'm not sure if anything is too earth-shattering, but definitely some interesting things that came up. So the first one that we have is this concept of Office Everywhere, and they're really hitting this very hard lately. And you see it with Office Anywhere really means Office across any device, any platform, anytime, just getting a full fidelity Office experience. And one of the things that's interesting about that is a lot of the reasons that people like Office and they can depend on Office have to do with the encryption and the security and the different things that are there. And so they had a blog post that came out this week that talks about their focus on cross-device, cross-platform data security. And so they have 3 different controls that are available today: SMIME, Office 365 encryption, and information rights management. And some of those components work across all Office versions on all Office versions on all different devices. And so they're really focused on making that experience work across everything. And I think a lot of this goes back to the security compliances and the different things that they're trying to get, and just their emphasis on trust. And so we've got this here, And I put a video next to it. So inside of the Sway, I have a video that kind of walks through the security things. So very interesting things. Corey, do you have any experience with clients using Office across every device?
Yes and no. I have some clients that, more of them are looking at Surface Pro 3, but a lot of them still have a lot of iPads in use. The last few I talked about. I actually had an opportunity to try this out on my Android tablet that I have living around, and I've really just had this device to kind of test out some of these Office apps that are coming out so rapidly. And what it does, like an example of what it does is, in order for you to connect to your corporate network, like using the Outlook app, they post an update. It will see if your device meets all the criteria for passwords and things like that. Does it have a device lock? And if you tell it no, I don't want to put a password on my device, it will basically drop that account from Outlook while leaving everything else of your personal data intact. So you can still use it. And so if you do actually have it bound and you're using it as a managed device, you'd connect it to your corporate network. If your device gets lost or you leave the company, they can remotely wipe basically just that portion of your data and not have to wipe your entire device or anything like that. So it kind of keeps it in its own little sandbox per se. It's kind of hitting all the different platforms, and I think Windows has had it kind of for a while, but it was kind of nice to see it go to these other platforms because it makes them more likely to be used in an enterprise.
Yeah.
Concerns.
Yeah, and I think the days of an enterprise being able to tell people this is the one device that you're using are just going away. That's just not how the world really operates right now. And so it's interesting to see. And as we see with our next update that we have, which is OneDrive, I'm sorry, not OneDrive, OneNote. There's too many ones.
Yes.
OneNote is now getting OCR for the iPad, and then it's also, handwriting for the iPad and OCR across every client on every device, which is another place that you're seeing some of these changes that are coming out are really every client, every device, everything working the same. And so we're starting to see, maybe that's not a mantra that they're marching to or that's what they're saying all the time, but that's what we're starting to see in these small updates that are coming out.
Yeah, they're coming out really rapidly, and OCR is an interesting one because it hasn't been in every OneNote client for sure. I actually did a post on the MVP Award blog last year, kind of comparing OneNote 2013, the desktop version, to what comes with OneNote. Again, the Windows Store app or modern application, whatever you want to call it now. And their feature sets are not the same. And it's out of date now, and I need to update it. And I actually talked about doing that. But even as I was talking about making the updates, they put out more updates, which make it even more obsolete. And then I'll even show you today, Windows 10's got a version of OneNote that's even a little different than what's out on Windows 8 now, which is kind of interesting. So, but glad to see OCR coming. I think it's a cool feature. That means if you handwrite some notes, people are going to be able to search it. Well, people as in you.
Well, I'm really hoping that the full fidelity of all of the Office applications across every device, every platform are going to get there. That will be huge for our users because we'll no longer have to think about, okay, you get this really great feature if you're using this here, but if you're using this here, you can only do this much, which just makes it. Yeah, and it makes it, people aren't going to want to use a tool like that. And so I applaud Microsoft for the rate at which these things just keep coming out. Mix had 2 updates this week, and it's all about compatibility and different things like that. And so OneNote, they're going a little bit nuts today. They had a Yam Jam talking about stuff. They've got a lot of new updates coming out and trying to make it the same for every person on every device all the time, and I think it's only going to make for a better use case of people using the tools to really get work done. So all very interesting things. So the next update that we have is the Office Mix update. They've improved that. I don't use Mix too often. I've been using Sways, and I actually thought about, maybe I'll switch it up next time and do a Mix instead of a Sway. For our meeting, so we'll see. I might go in and play with that a little bit. But Mix is, think of it as almost like lesson plans that you can build or training that you can build inside of PowerPoint. And so they came up with some.
Right?
Yeah, and then you can broadcast it and point people to it and different things like that. And so they came up with some improvements on republishing it to speed up the rate at which they can republish it, and updated share and embed options. So now you can have somebody who, you're broadcasting it for, they can pause in the middle of it and actually share it out on social channels. So if you have a message or something like that that you're trying to get that you even want to share publicly, there's new channels that you can do that. They also support some new embedding options, which they hadn't before, and so they're really just getting up to industry standards in that. So if you have a way that you need to maybe put together training, maybe you're an org and you want to put together some small instructional videos or something like that along those lines, Mix is a great tool to use for that. Have you used Mix much, Corey?
When it first came out, I tried it once or twice, and I guess my experience was it's kind of a light version of Camtasia. It has some of the similar functionality, and so it's kind of nice as they're increasing, the functionality. I don't think they'll ever always do everything Camtasia does, but again, it's one of those things. Putting that kind of feature and that kind of functionality in the hands of more users is definitely a very cool thing.
Yeah. Any of you guys using Mix from the audience or interested in seeing more about it? Because we could definitely put together something along those and do those. So if you are interested in that, just kind of leave it in the comments and we will take it from there. The last one that I added in terms of updates, and I added this one for a couple of different reasons. One is because I wanted to get word out to everyone for their own children and their teachers, their children's teachers. Microsoft has pretty much made Office 365 and Office free for all students and all teachers. And so it's a huge benefit right now. And so you have to go in with a school-provided email address. And so if you have a company or a school that's participating in this, they can go get it. And so I put the links here because I think it's great. Technology is happening all the time for our students. So our little guy just came home with an iPad last week, a little iPad mini, so he can start turning in assignments on that. I don't think I've seen him do anything but play games on it yet. Maybe you've seen him actually do work.
Probably not, but I assume they're going to do some work on it at some point, and I'm curious to see if his school, participates, because, of course, there's Office on iPad, and having an Office 365 subscription associated with it is definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
Definitely, this is where you're seeing Microsoft compete with like Google and Apple in schools right now, and I think that's kind of the next major battleground as far as sales goes, and it's kind of interesting to see how that's going to kind of turn up.
Yeah, definitely. So I'd encourage you guys, if your children have school email addresses or even contacting the school or teachers or anything like that, yeah, I can paste that link. I'm going to just paste the additional details link. Someone asked for that, and that should give you the 2 links that you need in there. But definitely something to check out, and they're really trying right now. So I think it's great. And a lot of times we find that our teachers may not know that some of these things are available, so if we can pass that goodness along, it is a great thing. So I definitely wanted to bring that up. It's not usually I don't bring the school updates in here because they're not as much business focused, but I thought it was pretty interesting and something that we should all be aware of. All right, so that kind of brings us to the end of the updates for the week. So it hasn't been a super crazy week with updates, but they hit us with some huge ones last week. So maybe they're just kind of taking the day off. Last time, I don't know if you guys noticed, but 10 minutes after we did the Pulse show last week, they came out with a new announcement, the one about the video portals. And I was like, don't you guys know I do a show? And you guys posted it 10 minutes after my show. I was like, I cannot keep the people informed. So I kind of laughed about that. So who knows what will happen? Who knows what they're getting ready to hit send on right now in Microsoft headquarters. But for now, those are kind of all of the updates that we have. So we wanted to kind of switch gears a little bit now. And I'm going to stop sharing, and we're going to let Corey start sharing. And I invited him to kind of talk to us a little bit about Office 10 for Windows and what this means and maybe why we should even care. So he is going to start his screen sharing. And remember, you guys can, while he's getting ready to do that and doing that, remember you guys can pick the 4 little arrows in the corner screens, and you guys can maximize the window to full screen if you need to.
So we'll give it just a second to kind of show up here. I think it is finally sharing now, right? And we want to talk about Windows 10 a little bit today because it's coming, and there's going to be a lot of news about it. We're already seeing. The media's really picked up on it. They're kind of, giving it all sorts of yays and nays, so to speak. Wondering if this is going to be, the next answer to, enterprise operating systems and how well things are going to do. Windows 8 obviously didn't do well to an enterprise, and consumers didn't necessarily like it, even though I personally, I love both 8 and 8.1. I think they're pretty great. But really the goal of Windows 10 is to make touch a first-class citizen while not forgetting the desktop. Those of you that have Surface Pros, already know kind of what this looks like, right? And already have exist in this like hybrid type world, right? And I'm just going to move the screen over real quick.
So Corey, a couple questions. Are you running this on a production machine right now, and is this your primary Office experience, or is this just a test?
Question. So I actually am running it on my. I apologize, I'm trying to get the connect.
Oh, great day! You guys can see that I added filters to our grocery list. Honey, you're showing our shopping list.
That's fine because I figured I would save content, right? So I'll close some of this. So. I was trying to get that Adobe Connect come up so I could still see any kind of chat things coming up since I'm sharing, but on my second monitor. There we go. Okay, great. Now I can see it. Sorry, amateur with Connect. So let's talk about what we're seeing here. So we mentioned already that Office came out on iOS and Android, and it actually came out for the stores of those platforms before it did on Windows, right? And people have been asking where it's coming. And finally, Microsoft released a few weeks ago Excel, Word, and PowerPoint, and also OneNote to the Windows 10 platform. And so what we're looking at here is Windows 10. And, this is an example of a spreadsheet. So it looks like a spreadsheet. You see it does a lot of the similar things. It's got the graphs, things like that. We can flip between sheets like that, right? I'm doing all the interaction with the spreadsheet using my finger. I really like it. You could pinch and things like that, right? Very nice touch-first experience. You could still use this pretty well with a mouse and keyboard too. There's nothing wrong with it at all, right? Let's look over at Word. So. And, at any time, some of this could crash, because, I am on a Windows 10 production machine. This is an article I actually have coming out someday on IT Unity. But, it renders it in full fidelity, really no compromises for the most part. I found there's a few things you can't do in Word, like insert a table of contents, but you can still interact with it, and it keeps everything, nicely in touch. One new feature I kind of like is this light bulb feature, because obviously we have a new ribbon. I don't know where things are, so maybe I want to leave a comment, and it'll actually say, okay, you just type what I want to do, and type insert comment, and then it'll give you a spot right there to do it, and we can insert it just like that. So if you don't know where it is, insert comments actually, buried under review somewhere, and then there it is, right? But you don't have to really know where things are, so it's nice. I'll let you find things that normally you wouldn't be able to find. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and create a new document, and this looks probably familiar too, right, with what you've used before. You notice up here it bound to my OneDrive personal account, but also knows about my OneDrive for Business account, and shows me some common folders that are like on my PC, right? Let's just create a new document. And one thing that's really different, it's going to be taking you maybe some while to adjust to, is that as we're typing, this is my new document. And the details don't really matter, right? But I better save that, right? Well, if you look under File, you'll notice that there's no Save button. And if you're familiar with editing documents like in Office Online or Office Web Apps, it's very similar to that. There's no Save button there either. So that means as you type behind the scenes, it automatically takes care of it, saves the document as you need, and it really takes a while to getting used to. Another thing it took getting used to is if you want to change the file name, so it'll just go ahead and create a new document for you and give it a name. So that's on your file system somewhere in OneDrive, right? So if you want to actually change the file name, that's where you do it. So if I want to change this to test document now, I do it there. So it's not necessarily, that one might take users some getting used to, right?
I'm going to take bets that that's going to be one of the #1, where's my save button and how do I change the name of something? That
Exactly.
I have a feeling that's going to be a really big question that gets asked quite a bit when people start using this.
We're still in preview, so they may do something,
Yeah, it may change.
If you remember in like Excel web app, I think there used to be a big old thing that said, where's my save button, right? And so I could see that coming here as well, right? So that's Word. One thing, I've got my pen in my hand, and it doesn't actually do anything here in this particular, it really just acts as a mouse, right? So I can highlight things like that. I expect, touch will come working, and I actually thought I had pens working at one time in Word, but at least right now it's not working. So that's a difference, if you have a Surface Pro 3. However, the new OneNote is pretty slick, and yes, we do need to get some new light bulbs and things like that, but I can still write on this all I want, right? We can tap over between, there's some recipes that Jennifer was working on and things like that. But so it still has all the nice pen effects that we had before, and of course you'll see this new menu as well that introduced, has all the same look as the other Windows 10 apps. Of course, we can control how we want to draw, so if we want to change our cursor or something like that, now we have a bigger yellow highlight. So it's really nice. And of course, what we saw was OneNote got touch support as well, or not touch support, it already had touch support for iOS, but it had handwriting support as well. So I guess you can do it with a pen, or if you have a capacitive stylus, you can do it there as well. So it sounds like we're going to see this functionality come to the other kind of platforms.
So you're running, this is just Windows 10, Office for Windows 10, right? Is this what you're demoing for us right here?
So they're installed as separate apps, so it's not really a suite. Just like, if you got it in the iOS store or the Android store, Google Play, they're separate apps. So when you go to the Windows Store, you can download them separately, and I could probably even,
It looks like Daniel has a request to see if you can show us Skype for Business.
No, I can't show you Skype for Business, so. Sorry. No, I can't show you that. This is the new store in Windows 10, and you'll see, the top apps, of course, Word Preview, and so if you click on it, they can be downloaded here. So free applications, and if you have an Office 365 subscription, it will unlock more functionality. Right now, all the functionality is turned on, and they haven't talked about what's not going to be available if you don't have an Office 365 subscription. But know that there will probably be some difference, although I think they got rid of all those differences on iOS and Android recently, so that may go away. But at least when they announced it, they talked about that there would be a subset of functionality you'd get.
So, and this would need to run right now only on Windows 10, and Windows 10 is out in preview mode. Is that where Windows 10 is right now? I won't put it on mine because it still makes you angry. So
it does make you angry sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes, at least once a day, it's still making him angry.
Sometimes. So there's good builds and bad builds. You run a preview operating system, you expect to have issues, but that's just how I am. And This is the fourth public build that they've released, 5928 as they call it, and I expect we'll see another build in the next couple of weeks. And each one gets a little better, and each one adds functionality. So the only way to do apps right now, of course, is to run Windows 10. But I don't recommend it for everybody. But if you are interested in trying out, you can look at my link inside that I posted earlier about Office on Windows 10. And
what about the browser? Can you talk through the new browser changes? Is that available?
Browser changes are only announced, right? We've heard of the thing Spartan. I think somebody asked about that on the last show, actually. Yeah. And it's not in the current build yet. So Internet Explorer
is teasing us.
Yeah, Microsoft's teasing us. So Internet Explorer still is Internet Explorer 11 right now. No real major difference that you're going to see in it. When this new browser comes out, I expect things to look totally different. But I'm guessing we're going to have to wait for another build or two before we see it. But it sounds like things are getting closer on that. So unfortunately, we don't really have a lot of information on that except what Microsoft's announced and what's kind of been leaked to the media.
Very cool. Any other questions from the chat window when we're here? Corey, we totally appreciate you giving us a demo. It's neat to see. What is your overall working experience? Have you been, I know I asked, are you using it as your primary authoring experience? I don't think you answered.
So I've actually tried using it for my primary authoring experience, and I've done it several times successfully. Occasionally, there will be something that I can't do that's just not in the product yet. Like I think I mentioned earlier, inserting table of contents is not there. But I have done it. It doesn't crash too often. I found Word's a little safer than Excel. I guess the other things I didn't really cover with Excel is so while it can do things like the graphs and things like that, pivot charts, it can't connect to SharePoint and pull data out of a list, for example, and it can't open a Power View spreadsheet. No idea if these will be able to ever do it or not. I don't think iOS supports it either, or Android. I think I checked. So not something, that can do everything that, Excel can. I don't ever see it having the big number crunching engine that's in it to handle millions of rows at a time. But I think it's really, mostly meant for consumption of data, but you can do a good job, editing data, and I can click on fields and I can key things in, and, works just great for that kind of thing. It has all the kind of same keyboard shortcuts and things like that as well. But there's still some definitely limitations. I don't think I showed PowerPoint yet.
No.
So PowerPoint, PowerPoint really just looks
the same as it's looked for many years.
What you've been doing. But yeah, I mean, it really doesn't look that different. It's got some things you can insert. It's got, your transitions, things like that. I don't know if it has a smart art. We could ask, right? Does it have a, not smart? Am I saying it right, smart art?
Yeah, you're saying it right. And it's displaying smart art right now, because that's what all those things are, but it might not be there. Something came up in the ribbon.
So you really can't do anything to it.
Yeah, but it shows up in the ribbon, so it must be.
Oh, you're right. It did show up, so you can do. Yeah, so maybe they're working on it. It's just not there yet, right?
They can't take away smart art. I mean, they can.
Yeah, smart art's. Yeah, they can. So hopefully that'll make it into a future build.
Yeah, I'm guessing it will.
I expect we'll see these iterate rapidly as well, right?
Very cool. Very cool. So is what we're seeing here with Windows 10 and Office for Windows 10, is that pretty similar to the Office for Android that you saw? Is it a pretty similar type of experience?
There's a lot of similarities between Office and this one for Android. I spent more time in Android probably than anything because I don't have an iOS device, but definitely you can tell like the UI is very similar. The design, just the way they're approaching the app and touch first, they're kind of reusing it across their platforms. So I think it'll be a similar experience if you have one of those devices, and I think the goal is really to, you can pick up any device and use Office and not have to think about where's this on this platform or where's that on this platform, right?
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I appreciate the demo. I haven't had a chance to really play with it too much because I use, my Surface is my primary machine, and like I said, I'm not comfortable enough yet with 10. Enough people that I love dearly and trust are not.
She cut out.
Okay, sorry about that. My computer just, I guess, went to sleep. Hopefully I'm back now. I guess I needed to touch my machine more during the demo. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
All right, awesome. Well, we will leave it up for you guys if you have any other questions. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again because I have some details about our next show. For our next show, we're going to have actually Benjamin Newland from ShareGate, and we are going to be talking about groups. So it is going to be next week on Wednesday. We have the registration link here. And then we are going to be kind of doing like we did this time, taking the first, 15 to 25 minutes and talking about all the new changes that are there. And then we're going to break out and do some demos of groups and talk about the group experience. Yeah, Marcy says Ben is such a fun guy. He is a blast. So I'm very much so looking forward to next week and having that there. So I guess that kind of wraps us up for today. If you guys have any questions, we are more than happy to answer them while we're here for a few minutes. And then if not, hopefully you guys will get registered. I think we're going to put up an eval. So you guys can give us your thoughts, and we will definitely take those thoughts into planning out our future episodes. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Thank you, Corey, for doing the demos with me. I successfully made it through the webcast without calling you sweetie or dear or anything like that, so I'm going to call that a win. So.
Very impressed. Very impressed.
All right, guys, everybody have a good day.